Good evening, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you had a lovely day. The market was flat, or what I call flat by the end of the day. S&P, I think, was negative, red, 0. Taking that into note, it's like been day 3 of kind of a downward spiral. And, you know, we're moving with the dollar here, and I just have the dollar open today to show y'all that, you know, we're at the bottom of this channel here. So, also, we do have overhead resistance. That being said, I think that we go up and retest that resistance and put in the right shoulder here, and then maybe the markets will move higher off of that. That's what I'm seeing, and I just want to correlate that with what I like to do is just correlate the dollar with the bonds and with the VIX. I like to see all of those running together, and I like to see all the equities running together. And then oil usually running with the dollarish kind of. And nat gas hit a low. I called that. I've been calling nat gas right ever since we hit that low. So, just showing you the charts here in DXY. I'm looking like we're going to get more green inbound here. Maybe give us a little bit higher on a MACD in order to sell, because we're just hanging around in this bottom here. Could continue down. Not saying that we couldn't break down, but your wedge that we're forming here is like sideways. So that's usually meaning that it's going to break to the upside, especially when you see this move like this. Maybe not, but I think that we break to the upside big, like on these big candles here, that we're going to see that come up to the trend line. And the only reason I say that is because if you look at these other times of consolidation, you can see that the length of that consolidation is about reached its peak here, and as the wedge is forming. So that's why I think that the dollar is going to go up here. McClellan's not running on dollar. I don't know why. Let's correlate that with what we see in the VIX. So in the VIX, we're at the bottom of the channel right now, the opening channel, which is a bullish channel. It's getting wider. We're at the bottom of it. So I think that we could see that we're going to bounce off one of these two trend lines here, maybe early in the morning or midday. It might turn tomorrow. MACD is all the way at the bottom, looking to turn over, and if you can see the history of the MACD, it's always right. So it's guaranteed, high probability that we'll see a red day tomorrow. Alright, now let's roll down to our normals, which, let's run UNG really quick. UNG, we have our wedge forming, our sideways wedge, just like we have on the dollar going on here. It's not quite completed this whole wedge system yet, but we've been hovering over its long-term support. It's been weaving in and out of it like a snake. If you can see it, that goes back a long time. Okay, so we're weaving in and out of this trend line that I've had set up right here, and we formed this thing here. Now, I would assume that at the end of this wedge pattern here, we go long on UNG, but we'll have to wait to see. You know, there's a lot of downwards pressure on UNG for unknown reasons. So McClellan working on this one here. Called the bottoms with our buy signals, and you could obviously see that on the MACD we were extreme at that bottom. It was definitely a buy opportunity. MACD is above our zero line, which means that we're looking bullish still, but like I said, it has waved up before, and when it's catching bids, we can look back here when it catches a nice bid roll like that. Could bid roll out like that, something. I'd like to see it come down, retest the low again, and then get in. But at that point, we'll be really bearish. So, all right, next up, lowies. This is not to be confused with lows. This is lowies, hotels, and billion-dollar properties. And as you can see, we've been tracking lowies, and it has dropped below its little support line here, giving us a new bounce point. We are up in the red zone, but on lowies it's just constantly going up, so I can't tell you if it's the green zone or the red zone. This usually travels along with the equity markets, and the way I play this is range playing your buying area and basically your selling area here. You're going to play this range. Now we're in the upper part of the range and we're moving towards the right. We look at prior support lines and trend lines, and we see that we're bouncing off of this one. Is it a good trend line? Also, is this going to run with the equity markets? I was calling today that we're getting a triple top formation, which possibly is going down because we are in a bullish rising wedge, which is a bearish wedge. Should signal a correction move is going to come after it, of course. But MACD is up above the zero line, so we're not in the most opportune buying area here, even though we are getting buy signals on these little dips here from the McClellan oscillator. That the McClellan can vary on the signals that it's getting from stock to stock. Like you can pull, I would be running at 9 and 20. It seems. So you can see, like, yeah, it shows where the buy signals are majority of the time. You can mess with those types of signals. Alright, well, TOT been dropping for a while now. Looks like it caught a bigger bid here when I got in. I bought it off the low. I bought it off this trend line right here. And I rode that up. I'm in the options, but we dropped back down, and we're just basically trading this now lower range here. If you can see, not quite bullish since we passed through this trend line here anymore on it. I was, and I still am holding these options. We'll see what happens. With all the auctions going on with the bonds right now, it's kind of like maybe it's dulled down. Maybe it'll pick up with the crash here, if we get a crash. So they're suggesting that there's some more upside to the market. At least there could be more downside to the bonds here, but that could be due to competition, maybe because of the auctions. Maybe TLT didn't look too appeasing, but it looks like we had done filled that gap, and now we're moving back to retest this trend line down here. Could be another bullish buy to get back into that trend line. We're bouncing off what would be basically my box territory, and you can see on UNG that it liked to bounce off that. It would like to bounce off this area here. That's how I set it up, kind of getting your buy zone right into that the wedge. want to buy as low as possible. This is just indicating that you should be, this one, you're trying to buy this, we're trying to buy as low as possible, so this is the buy area. Change this all to green here, like this, okay? And you can put the purple one out too, if you really want to. Which you're going to be like, okay, well, yeah. Problem is we got resistance all up in here. That's why we're already in. The window of opportunity will close on you. So, like that. So we'll see what happens on bonds. Let's go into Spider here. Still riding up this channel. We've been in a downward spiral for like 2 days. Tried to catch a bid today, but it's still traveling down. I would expect us to come down towards this lower trend line that I had. And like I said, we want to buy more towards this green area here. So, let's see. Prior support could become this basically buying zone here. And if we fall below, that level, you might want to think we're going into some bearish territory here. MACD is up, but also traveling back down right now, but also looking like it could catch a little bit more of a bid before it dumps. So Spider does look like, now you have to note that there's been a lot of activity, and maybe people haven't seen this or caught this, that the futures have been driving differently than the actual stock, and that's due to people are playing. It's not always going to travel. It depends on how many people are playing what. More people are playing futures than Spider or whatever or not. So you have to be careful of that one of these could be lying to us, basically. Alright, next up, UVXY. We're traveling down. We are in the green buying territory, and we have some options sitting just a little bit lower than this that aren't printing out, and meaning that we probably could be going back to the upside here. And that's loading. So we have UVXY loading. We broke out from my projected trend line targets, which could be wrong because those are wicks, but I used these prior zones of resistance, and we broke above this on short VIX. However, we're still looking maybe that this is a rollover pattern. This one was lying to us because the MACD is up at extremes, even though, and we have low volume, which could signal maybe us rolling over towards the end of the MACD and the beginning of the rollover. Alright, back up. soxl. Soxl getting some bearish signaling here. We've tested the top numerous times already, and I'm expecting this to go to bearish. There's absolutely no way that we could be buying it right now without seeing a larger pullback than what we had previously, even though it's been trending up while SPY has been trending downward. And I think that's going to be it, guys, for tonight. I hope you know where you're at. Let's look at QQQ real quick because everybody likes that. We're traveling sideways. It's been the lagger for either selling or going higher, which could mean that we are going to be seeing some higher prices here on QQQ. If we just melt up right here, we're at the buying channel, even though we had a head, but it could be printing inverse head and shoulders here, and we could be going higher right now, even though we did have that head and shoulders there. We did go down after that. We do have an inverse head and shoulders pattern showing up. So we'll have to see if the rest of the market wants to drag QQQ down or it's going to travel up on its own. So I hope this helps you out for the rest of this week, guys. The PCE is coming on Thursday. Expected to be hot. Markets expect to go down, so there might be some selling going on early, but really everything is kind of all over the place, and I wish you guys luck.